lights go out, the stories begin. Night stories. Your nightmares become real.
It started with a post on a forum I'd lurked in for weeks. The dark web's a cesspool, sure, but it's also where you find the unfiltered truth, stuff governments, corporations, or whoever else doesn't want you to see. I was good at navigating it, using proxies and VPNs to keep my tracks clean. I wasn't some thrill seeker. I was a data analyst by trade, someone who liked patterns, who could spot the signal in the noise. That's what drew me to the forum. A thread titled Archive 47. No explanation, no context, just a string of numbers and a single line. If you open it, you're marked. I should have scrolled past. I didn't. The thread had no replies, which was odd. Usually these places are crawling with trolls or skeptics tearing into anything cryptic, but this was dead silent, like the post was invisible to everyone else. I clicked the link, led to a file hosted on a server I didn't recognize, buried behind layers of encryption. My software flagged it as risky, but I'd seen that before. I downloaded it anyway, a compressed folder, 3.2 gigabytes, labeled A47 vid. My heart was already pounding, not from fear, but from the thrill of uncovering something real, something hidden. The folder took 20 minutes to unpack. My laptop whined, fans screaming as it processed. Inside was a single video file, no extension, just a string of numbers. I hesitated. My setup was secure, but the dark web's full of traps. Malware, trackers, worse. Still, I opened it. The media player flickered, and for a moment I thought it crashed. Then the screen went black, and the video started. It was grainy, like something recorded on old analog tape. No sound at first, just a dim room with concrete walls lit by a single flickering bulb. The camera was static, pointed at what looked like an operating table, stained and rusted. I leaned closer, squinting. There was something on the table, a shape humanoid but wrong. Its limbs were too long, its torso too thin, like it had been stretched. The skin was gray, almost translucent, veins pulsing beneath it like black rivers. Its head was hairless with eyes too large, too dark, reflecting the light in a way that made my stomach twist. I wanted to pause it, to look away, but I couldn't. The thing wasn't moving, but it felt alive, like it was watching me through the screen. Then the sound kicked in, a low hum, almost subsonic, vibrating in my chest. I turned down my speakers, but it didn't help. The noise felt like it was coming from inside my skull. The camera zoomed in, shaky now, focusing on the thing's face. Its mouth was a thin slit, no lips, just a gash that twitched like it was trying to speak. The hum grew louder, and I swear I heard words in it. Not English, not anything I recognized, but words. They slithered into my brain, sharp and cold like needles. I slammed my laptop shut. My apartment was silent, but my ears were ringing. My hands shook as I poured water from the sink, splashing it on my face. It was just a video, I told myself. Probably a hoax, some sick art project. But those eyes, those fucking eyes, kept burning in my mind. I checked the time. 2 hours had passed. The video was only 6 minutes long. I didn't sleep that night. I kept my laptop closed, unplugged, like it was a bomb. But I couldn't stop thinking about the file. I'd seen fakes before, photoshopped cryptids, CGI monsters. But this was different. The details were too precise, the lighting too consistent. And that hum. It wasn't just sound. It was like it had reached into me, left something behind. By morning, I was back at my desk, opening the laptop. I had to know. The file was still there, but something was off. My desktop looked different, icons rearranged, some missing. I checked my browser history. It was wiped. Not just cleared, but gone, like it had never existed. I opened the forum again, but the thread was missing. Not deleted, not locked, just gone. I searched the site's archives, used every trick I knew to dig up dead links. Nothing. It was like Archive 47 had never existed. I played the video again. This time I noticed details I'd missed. In the background, behind the table, there were markings on the wall, symbols, not letters, carved into the concrete like claw marks. They pulsed faintly, in sync with the thing's veins. The camera panned slightly, revealing a second figure in the corner. Human, or close to it, wearing a hazmat suit, face obscured by a visor. They were holding something. A syringe, maybe, filled with a liquid that glowed faintly green. The figure approached the table, and the thing's eyes snapped open wider, its mouth splitting into a scream that didn't make a sound. The hum spiked and my vision blurred. I felt blood trickle from my nose. I stopped the video, gasping. My apartment felt smaller, the air heavier. I checked the locks again, even though I knew it was pointless. Whatever I'd seen wasn't just a video, it was a window. And something on the other side had noticed me. I spent the next day trying to trace the file's origin. The server was a dead end, bouncing through proxies in countries I couldn't pronounce. I posted about it on another forum, carefully vague, asking if anyone had heard of Archive 47. No replies, but within an hour my account was banned. No warning, no explanation. I tried logging in from a different IP. The forum wouldn't load. My VPN kept dropping like something was interfering. That night I heard it. Not the hum from the video, but something else. A faint scratching, like nails on glass. It was coming from my window. I live on the 4th floor. I didn't look. I turned on every light, cranked the TV, anything to drown it out. But the sound followed me, shifting to the walls, then the ceiling. It wasn't loud, but it was deliberate, like something testing the edges of my space. I didn't watch the video again for 2 days. I told myself I'd delete it, burn the hard drive, move on. But I couldn't. It was like an itch in my brain growing worse the longer I ignored it. On the 3rd night, I gave in. I opened the file, skipped to the part with the hazmat figure. The syringe was injecting the glowing liquid into the thing's arm. Its body convulsed, limbs twisting at angles that shouldn't be possible. The camera zoomed in on its face again, and this time, I saw something new. Its eyes weren't just reflecting light. They were moving, darting, like they were searching. For me, the hum was louder now, and the words were clearer. Not a language, but a feeling. Hunger, anger, something ancient and wrong. I tried to close the video, but my mouse wouldn't respond. The screen flickered, and for a split second I saw my own face reflected in the thing's eyes. Not a reflection from my monitor, my actual face distorted, screaming. I yanked the power cord from the wall. The scratching came back, louder from every direction. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen, clutching it like it would help. My phone buzzed, a notification from an app I didn't recognize. No text, just a single image. The same concrete room, empty now, but the symbols on the wall were glowing brighter. I deleted the app, smashed my phone with a hammer, and sat in the dark, listening to the scratching grow closer. I don't know how long I sat there, hours maybe. The knife was still in my hand when I noticed something else, a smell, faint but sharp, like ozone and rot. It was coming from my laptop. I hadn't plugged it back in, but the screen was on, glowing faintly. The video was playing. I hadn't touched it. The thing on the table was gone. The camera was focused on the empty room, but the symbols were moving now, crawling across the walls like insects. The hum was back, louder, and I felt it in my bones. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The screen flickered again and I saw it. Something standing in the corner of my room, just beyond the light. It wasn't human. It wasn't even close. I don't know how I'm still here writing this. The scratching hasn't stopped, and the smell is stronger now. My laptop's still on, even though I've unplugged it, smashed it, thrown it against the wall. The video keeps playing, looping, and every time it does, the thing in the corner gets closer. I can't see it clearly, but I feel it. Those eyes, that hunger. I don't think it's just watching anymore. I think it's waiting. The thing in the corner didn't move, but I felt its presence like a weight on my chest. My apartment was a cage, every shadow a threat. The knife in my hand felt useless, its blade catching the faint glow from my shattered laptop screen, which somehow kept playing that cursed video. The concrete room, the writhing symbols, the empty table. They burned into my vision even when I closed my eyes. The hum was constant now, not just in my head but in the air, vibrating through the walls, the floor, my bones. I hadn't slept in days, hadn't eaten. My body was screaming, but fear kept me wired, alert, waiting for whatever was coming. I don't know when I first noticed the marks. I was pacing, trying to drown out the scratching with music, when I saw them. Faint scratches on the inside of my apartment door, like something had clawed at it from my side. I hadn't left in days, hadn't opened the door. My stomach churned as I ran my fingers over the grooves. They were deep, jagged, not human. I checked the locks again, still secure, deadbolt in place. But the marks weren't there yesterday. I was sure of it. The smell was worse now. That mix of ozone and decay, thick enough to gag on. It wasn't just coming from the laptop anymore. It was everywhere, seeping from the walls, the ceiling, even my clothes. I tore through my apartment, searching for the source, ripping open cabinets, checking vents. Nothing. Just the hum, the scratching, and that relentless video playing on a machine I'd smashed to pieces. I tried to leave, grabbed my keys, but the moment my hand touched the doorknob, the hum spiked, a deafening pulse that dropped me to my knees. My vision swam, and for a second I saw it again. Those eyes, black and endless, staring from the corner of my living room. I crawled to the bathroom, the only place with no windows, and locked myself in. The tiles were cold against my skin, grounding me just enough to think. I needed to destroy the file, the laptop, all of it. But how? I'd already tried everything. Unplugging, smashing, even dousing it with water. It kept coming back like the video was part of the machine now, part of me. I remembered the forum's warning. If you open it, you're marked. I'd thought it was just dark web bravado, a scare tactic. Now I wasn't so sure. I pulled out my old phone, one I hadn't used in years, buried in a drawer. It was a risk, but I needed answers. I powered it on, praying it wasn't compromised. The battery was low, but it worked. I didn't dare access the dark web again, not after what happened to my accounts. But I searched regular sites, forums, anything that might mention Archive 47. Most results were junk, conspiracy theories about UFOs or government cover-ups. But one post, buried on a sketchy message board, caught my eye. It was anonymous, posted days ago. Don't open A47. It's not a video, it's a beacon. The thread was locked, the user's account deleted. My hands shook as I read it again. A beacon for what? The hum changed, sharper now, like a signal locking onto something. I heard a new sound, a wet guttural rasp, like air forced through a throat that wasn't built for it. It was coming from the living room. I pressed myself against the bathroom door, clutching the knife, my breath shallow. The rasp grew louder, closer until it was right outside. Something heavy dragged across the floor, slow and deliberate. I wanted to scream, to call for help, but who would believe me? I barely believed myself. I don't know how long I stayed there listening to that thing move. It didn't knock or try the door, just paced, rasped, scratched. My phone died, plunging the bathroom into darkness except for the faint glow under the door. The laptop's light, still alive, still playing. I couldn't stay in there forever. I had to face it. I opened the door, knife raised, heart slamming against my ribs. The living room was empty, but the air was wrong. Thick, charged, like before a storm. The laptop sat on the floor, screen cracked but glowing, showing the concrete room. The symbols on the walls were brighter now, pulsing like a heartbeat. And the table wasn't empty anymore. The thing was back, but different. Its skin was splitting, peeling back to reveal something underneath. Something wet and black like liquid muscle. Its eyes locked onto the camera, onto me, and I swear it smiled. I grabbed a hammer from my toolbox, determined to end this. I smashed the laptop over and over until the screen was a mess of plastic and glass. The hum didn't stop. It was louder, coming from everywhere. The rasping was back too, behind me now. I spun around, hammer raised, but nothing was there. Just the corner, darker than it should have been, like the light couldn't touch it. Then I saw the marks on my arms, thin, shallow cuts like the ones on the door, crisscrossing my skin. I hadn't felt them happen. Blood welled up, slow and dark, and I dropped the hammer, stumbling back. The smell was choking now, and the room felt smaller, the walls closer. I ran to the window, threw it open, desperate for air, for escape. The city outside was quiet, too quiet, the streetlights dimmer than usual. And then I saw it. Across the street in the shadows of an alley, a figure. Not human, too tall, too thin, its eyes glinting like the thing in the video. It didn't move, just watched. I slammed the window shut, curtains drawn, and backed away. The scratching was louder now, not just from the walls, but from inside them, like something was burrowing through. I grabbed my coat, my keys, and bolted for the door. I didn't care about the hum, the eyes, the thing in the alley. I had to get out. But when I opened the door, the hallway wasn't there. It was the concrete room from the video, lit by that flickering bulb, the symbols glowing, moving, alive. The table was empty, but the air was heavy with that rotting ozone smell, and I heard the rasp again, closer, behind me. I turned, and it was there. Not the thing from the video, but something else. Taller, its body a mass of writhing shadows, limbs bending in ways that made my mind scream. Its face was a void, except for those eyes, black and endless, pulling me in. I tried to run, but my legs were lead, my body frozen. The hum was deafening, words forming in it now. Not just feelings, but commands, sharp and cold. You saw, you called, you belong. Don't know how I broke free. Maybe it let me. I was back in my apartment, door still open, hallway normal again. I slammed it shut, locked it, shoved furniture against it. The hum was quieter now, but it never stopped. The scratching didn't either. My arms were bleeding worse, the cuts deeper, forming patterns I couldn't read but felt wrong, like the symbols from the video. I haven't left the apartment since. I can't. Every time I try, the hum spikes and I see that room again, feel those eyes. I've boarded the windows, barricaded the door, but it doesn't matter. The thing's here, in the walls, in the air, in me. My laptop's gone, but the video plays in my head now, every detail burned into my skull. The cuts on my arms are spreading and they don't hurt anymore. They throb like they're alive, like they're waiting for something. Last night I found new marks, not on me, but on the walls. The same symbols from the video, carved into the paint, glowing faintly when the lights are off. The rasping's louder, closer, and sometimes I hear footsteps heavy and uneven outside my door. I don't look, I can't, but I feel it watching, waiting, and I know it's not just in my apartment anymore. It's everywhere, and it's not alone. I don't know what's coming, but I know I can't stop it. The beacon's active, and I'm the one who turned it on. The hum never stops. It's in my blood now, pulsing with my heartbeat, a rhythm that isn't mine. The apartment is no longer a refuge. It's a tomb, sealing me in with whatever I unleashed. The symbols on the walls glow brighter each night, crawling like veins across the plaster, spreading to the ceiling, the floor. They move when I'm not looking, rearranging into patterns that hurt my eyes to trace. The cuts on my arms mirror them, weeping black instead of blood, and when I touch them, they hum louder, like they're singing to something. I haven't eaten in days, haven't slept. My body's shutting down, but I'm too afraid to close my eyes. Every time I do, I see that concrete room, the table, those eyes. The thing in the corner is bolder now. It doesn't hide in shadows anymore. It stands in the open, just at the edge of my vision. I catch glimpses of it when I turn my head too fast. A mass of writhing limbs, too many, too long, folding into itself like a knot of living tar. Its face is still a void, but the eyes are sharper, glinting with something like intent. It doesn't move when I look at it directly. It just waits, patient, like it knows I can't run forever. The rasping is constant, a wet, choking sound that comes from everywhere and nowhere. Sometimes it's behind me, sometimes inside the walls, sometimes in my own throat. I tried to destroy the symbols. I grabbed a knife, not the one I'd been clutching, that's long gone, lost in a panic, and hacked at the walls. The plaster crumbled, but the symbols stayed, glowing through the dust, untouched. The knife slipped, slicing my hand, and the black ooze from my cuts mixed with the blood, sizzling when it hit the floor. The hum spiked, a scream in my skull, and the thing in the corner moved closer. I dropped the knife and ran to the bathroom again, locking the door, but it's pointless. The symbols are here too now, etched into the tiles, pulsing in time with the ones outside. I don't know how long I've been hiding here. Time doesn't work right anymore. The clock on the wall stopped days ago, but the second hand twitches sometimes, like it's trying to move backward. My phone's gone. My laptop's a pile of plastic and glass, but the video still plays in my head, clearer than ever. The thing on the table isn't just a body anymore. It's changing, splitting open to reveal something worse, something that doesn't belong in this world. Its eyes follow me, even in my memories. And I know now what the forum meant by marked. It's not just a warning, it's a sentence. Last night, or maybe it was longer ago, I can't tell, I heard voices. Not the hum's alien words, but human ones, faint, coming from the other side of the wall. My neighbors, I thought, or someone in the hall. I pressed my ear to the plaster, desperate for something normal, something to anchor me. But the voices weren't speaking English. They were chanting, low and rhythmic, in a language I didn't recognize but felt in my bones. The symbols on the wall pulsed brighter with each syllable, and the thing in the corner let out a sound like a laugh, wet and guttural. I backed away, heart pounding, and noticed something new. Footprints on the floor, not mine, too long, too thin, with too many toes. They led to the door and stopped, like whatever made them was still there, waiting. I tried to scream for help, but my voice came out wrong. Hoarse, layered, like the rasping thing was speaking through me. The chanting stopped, and for a moment, there was silence. Then a knock at the door, slow and deliberate. 3 sharp raps. I didn't move. I couldn't. The knock came again, harder, and the door creaked, the deadbolt groaning like it was about to give. I shoved the couch against it, then the table, anything to keep it closed. The knocking stopped, but the hum grew louder and the symbols burned so bright I had to shield my eyes. When I looked again, the door was open. Not wide, just a crack enough to let in that rotting ozone smell. The hallway beyond wasn't mine. It was the concrete room, the flickering bulb casting long shadows across the stained table. The thing from the video was there, standing now, its skin hanging in strips revealing that black, writhing mass underneath. It turned its head, slowly, and its eyes met mine. They weren't just watching, they were pulling, dragging my mind into them like sinking into a void. I slammed the door shut, but the image stayed, burned into my vision. I don't know how I'm still alive. My body's falling apart. The cuts on my arms are spreading, the black ooze pooling under my skin, forming shapes I can't look at too long. My reflection in the bathroom mirror isn't right anymore. My eyes are too dark, too large, and sometimes they move when I don't. The thing in the corner is closer now, close enough that I can feel its breath, cold and wet, on the back of my neck. The rasping is louder, and sometimes I hear my own voice in it, begging, screaming. But I'm not the one making the sound. I tried to burn the apartment. I poured what was left of my lighter fluid on the walls, struck a match. The flames caught, but they didn't spread. They curled around the symbols like they were feeding them. The fire didn't touch the thing in the corner either. It just stood there, watching, its eyes glinting through the smoke. I stomped out the flames, coughing, my lungs burning with that ozone rot. The symbols were brighter after, like I'd given them strength. I can't leave. I tried again hours ago, or maybe days. The door leads to that room now, every time. The windows show the city, but it's wrong. Empty, the streets too quiet, the sky too dark, with shapes moving in the distance that aren't human. The thing in the corner doesn't stop me from trying. It just watches like it's amused. I think it's waiting for me to give up, to let it in completely. The hum is speaking now, not just words but a promise. It tells me I'm part of it, that I always was. The cuts on my arms are opening wider, and I can see things moving inside them, small, black, writhing things, like the ones in the video. My skin feels thin, like it's about to split, like I'm about to become something else. I don't want to, but the hum is so loud, so strong, and it feels right, in a way that makes me sick. I'm writing this because I need someone to know, even if it's too late. The dark web wasn't just a place to find secrets, it was a door, and I opened it. Archive 47 wasn't a file, It was a signal, a call to something older than us, something that's been waiting. I don't know what it wants, but I know it's here, and it's not just in my apartment. It's in the air, the wires, the spaces between what we see and what's real. If you find this, don't look for the video. Don't search for Archive 47. If you do, you'll be marked, and it'll find you too. The thing in the corner is touching me now. Its limbs are cold, slick, wrapping around my arms, my chest. The hum is deafening, and I can feel myself slipping, my thoughts unraveling. The symbols are everywhere, inside me, outside me, and they're singing. I don't think I'm me anymore. I don't think I ever was. The door's open again. The concrete room is waiting. I can hear the table creaking like it's ready for me. The thing's eyes are in my head now, and they're not just watching, they're home. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If you're reading this, it's already too late. Don't know how many days have passed since I last saw daylight. The blinds are always shut, the clock no longer matters, and the only light in this room comes from the blue glow of my monitor. If you're reading this, if you found this, then it's already too late for me, but maybe not for you. You want to know what happens when you go too deep? When curiosity rots into obsession and the screen becomes more real than your own hands? I'll tell you, but don't expect to leave this story the same. It started like it always does, boredom, brilliance, and a keyboard. I was a self-taught hacker, nothing special at first. I cut my teeth on unsecured routers, bypassing paywalls, testing out exploits in outdated systems. The thrill was real, the world behind the screen vast and hidden. But the regular net, the surface, became a joke. Even the onion-layered deep web felt too curated after a while. You don't stay satisfied long when you know there's more. That's when I met them. I was frequenting a quiet, invite-only IRC board. The chatter was dense with code and talk of exploits most people would never comprehend. I posted a few tools of my own, a backdoor generator I'd made from scratch, a modified keylogger that was nearly invisible to heuristic AVs. It got their attention. They didn't use names. No handles, no tags, no colorful chat IDs. Just silence until one of them messaged me in private. Their message was short. "We're building something. You want in? You're already in." Then they dropped the access point. A custom shell, masked and encrypted like nothing I'd ever seen. It wasn't Tor. It wasn't I2P. It was something else. Like it had its own network structure entirely. Organic, fluid, always shifting. The login required more than a password. It asked for a sample of biometric data. Voice, keystroke rhythm, even heartbeat. It took hours just to crack the access algorithm. And once I was in, I regretted it immediately. The interface was black, not dark, black, a hunger behind the pixels. I typed commands into the shell, and the thing felt alive, like it responded with a pulse. The logs showed things I couldn't comprehend. Names of people who didn't exist, files with no source, folders that expanded into labyrinths of gibberish code and images. I should have closed it. God, I should have shut everything off. But I clicked one of the folders, no name, just a single period. Inside were hundreds of video files, each only a few seconds long, no descriptions, no dates. The first video was from a security cam. A woman sat at a desk chewing on a pen. Suddenly her eyes widened, her mouth opened like she was trying to scream, but no sound came out. Her skin started peeling. Not burning, peeling like something was pulling it from the inside. Her fingernails popped off, her teeth slid out, and then, just silence. The video ended. The second was worse. A child. Eyes gouged out, still alive. Something whispering in the background in a language that didn't follow any human structure. It sounded wet, like someone gargling while sobbing. I shut the folder, breath caught in my throat. I was shaking. I typed exit. The shell responded, too late. I tried shutting down my system, nothing. Hard kill, unplugged it. Still nothing. My screen stayed on. The glow deepened and the image shifted. There was no webcam on my monitor, I never installed one. But I was looking at myself. In real time. My reflection, grainy and sickly green like night vision, blinked, then smiled. It wasn't me. I yanked the power cord out of the wall. Everything went dark, finally. I didn't sleep that night. I paced the apartment, checked every window. I swore I heard whispering from inside the walls, metallic and insect-like, repeating clicks and guttural vowels. Tried to forget it, to tell myself it was a glitch, a trick, some elaborate RG meant to scare people. But I knew better. The next day, my phone vibrated. No ID, just a message. "Welcome." I didn't reply. I smashed the phone, burner or not. I wasn't taking chances, but that night when I turned on my backup laptop, the shell loaded automatically. No prompt, no login. The screen went black again, and this time it showed me a live feed of someone else's room. A teenager, probably. Headphones on, playing some game. Then a loud knock on his door. He looked up. Another knock. He took the headphones off and walked to the door. The knob turned, but he didn't touch it. The door opened. The room went dark. The feed cut to black. Then the shell displayed a single message. He shouldn't have watched. I started vomiting. I couldn't stop. I dry heaved until blood hit the floor. My insides felt like they were twisting. I don't remember much else from that night. Just flashes. Static. Screaming that wasn't mine. Something crawling behind my ceiling tiles. Days passed, I think. My blackout curtains stayed drawn and the clock stopped working. I unplugged everything, even the fridge. But still the dreams came. Dreams of hollow-eyed things pressed against the glass, dragging wires behind them like entrails. Dreams of code eating people alive, wrapping around them like worms through meat. I tried to warn someone. I emailed an old colleague, a cryptography specialist I used to work with, told him everything. What I saw, what the shell did, the folder, the kid. His reply came 2 hours later. "What the fuck did you access?" Then silence. A week later, his obituary showed up online. Cause of death, suicide. But I saw the photo. I zoomed in on his eyes. They weren't his. There was static in them. The group, I don't know what to call them. They're not just hackers. They feed on attention. Curiosity opens the door. Watching is enough. The more you see, the closer they get. After that, the files started appearing on their own. One night I woke up with my laptop open on my chest, a new folder blinking on the desktop. I swear it wasn't there when I fell asleep. Inside was a single image. It was me, asleep, except something stood next to the bed. No shape, just a distortion. A smear of movement like your eyes couldn't hold it in focus. I screamed, slammed the lid shut. But when I opened my eyes again, the room was different. Colder, smaller, like the walls had moved in just a little, and the corners were darker than they should be. I haven't been outside in, I don't know, weeks, months. The sun burns when I open the blinds, the birds are silent. Even my neighbors, I never hear them anymore. Sometimes I catch glimpses of code flowing across the walls like veins pulsing under skin. Other times I hear typing, not from my fingers, from under the floor. This network, this thing I tapped into, it's not human. It never was. It uses human hands, human eyes. But its roots are older than anything we understand. It doesn't want money. It doesn't want power. It wants witnesses, and I've seen too much. The last time I tried deleting the shell, my monitor bled. You think I'm exaggerating? The screen bled. Thick black fluid oozed from the bezel and dripped onto my keyboard. When I touched it, my fingers went numb for hours. I don't eat anymore. I can't. Food tastes like ash. Water feels like glass shards. The only thing that keeps me grounded is the typing, the writing. This you have to understand. I didn't mean to go this deep. I thought I was just another curious mind in a digital maze. But this maze doesn't end. It feeds. And now it's watching you. Yes, you, right now, you kept reading. That's enough. You're already part of it. I tried burning it. The laptop, I mean. I drenched it in lighter fluid, took it out to the alley behind my building, and set it ablaze. The flames roared for hours, way longer than they should have for such a small device. I stayed and watched until the plastic bubbled and cracked, until the metal curled in on itself like it was screaming. But when I came back upstairs, there it was, on my desk. No scorch marks, no melted plastic, just humming. Warm to the touch like it had never left. The screen was black, waiting for me to sit down. And when I did, because of course I did, the shell opened on its own. This time it didn't speak in commands. It showed me them. Live feeds, hundreds of them, all tiled across my screen like a surveillance matrix. Bedrooms, hallways, offices, classrooms, kitchens, no timestamps, no labels, just people, unaware, going about their lives. And in every feed something was watching. It was never clear. Sometimes a shape behind a curtain, sometimes a smear on a mirror, a flicker in the shadows under a desk. One feed showed a woman folding laundry. The closet door behind her creaked open, slow. She turned. Nothing there, but I saw it. You would have too if you were unlucky enough. A shape, hunched and twitching. Its body segmented like it was stitched from parts of other people. Its mouth hung open too wide, filled with rows of tiny fingers clenching and unclenching like they were trying to pull something in. When the woman walked past, it didn't move, but its mouth smiled. Then it turned and looked at the camera. It saw me. The shell glitched, my screen rippled. I smelled something sweet and rotting like spoiled meat doused in perfume. I slammed the laptop shut, but the smell stayed. It's still here. Everything in my apartment reeks like that now. I haven't showered in days. Every time I turn on the water, I hear breathing from the drain, slow, wheezing gasps like someone's dying down there. Once, something screamed. Not loudly. A whisper scream. I couldn't move for an hour after. My mirrors are all shattered. The reflections weren't mine anymore. One night I left, just bolted. Ran down the stairwell barefoot, didn't even lock the door. I didn't care. I just wanted to be away. I walked until the streetlights ended. I don't even know how far I went. But everywhere I looked, people were staring at their screens. Phones, tablets, laptops through cafe windows. Eyes glued, faces slack. Some of them were crying. One guy, this teenage kid, slumped against a bus stop. His phone lit up in his hand. The screen was pulsing, slow and rhythmic like a heartbeat. I asked him if he was okay. He didn't answer, just turned his head. His eyes were gone. Not gouged out, just gone. Smooth skin where sockets should have been. He was still breathing, but his lips were moving too fast, whispering some twisted binary chant. 001011. I backed away, heart hammering. That's when I noticed the posters. On the lampposts taped to the bus shelter, stapled to telephone poles. Same flyer over and over. You've seen too much. Don't look away. And below that, harvest imminent. I ran. Found an old motel on the edge of town. Paid in cash, covered the room in duct tape and tinfoil, blocked every vent, every crack. I stuffed towels under the door. I haven't left since, but it's here anyway. The signals come through the walls. Sometimes I hear the click of a mouse, not mine. I haven't plugged one in since the day the cursor moved on its own and typed something I didn't think yet. The worst was 3 nights ago. I woke up on the floor, face down, laptop open beside me. New file playing, no title, no description. Just video. It was me, but not in the motel. Back in my old apartment, sitting at the desk, eyes black and mouth open in a silent scream. In the video, my jaw unhinged, and something began to crawl out of me. Long, spindly legs like camera tripods, twitching with every movement. It dragged itself up my throat, splitting my lips, wet with bile and thick strands of something pale and fibrous. I watched it crawl fully out, this hybrid thing all metal and muscle, like wires grown into bone. It stood, turned toward the camera and pointed. Then the screen cut to static, but not before I saw what was behind it. Rows of people, other hackers I think, strung up by their spines hanging from thick pulsing cords of Ethernet cable. Their eyes were screens, and on those screens was me, watching. The shell opened again. One line appeared. URC'd, transmission successful. I screamed, tore at my skin, thought if I could just rip something out, maybe I could stop this. But it was already in me. I started leaking code. I'm not kidding, not metaphorically. I vomited on the floor, and in the bile were strings of data. Real code. IP addresses, fragments of shell scripts, corrupted keys. My veins itch. When I scratch too hard, lines of command text show up under my skin like tattoos. I haven't touched the laptop in days, but I still hear it. Typing, beeping. the fan spinning up when I get near. Sometimes it displays images on the walls and flickers, just enough for my brain to catch something it shouldn't. A man with no face wearing a monitor strapped to his neck. Inside the monitor, a live feed of me sleeping. A row of infant corpses curled around a router, wires protruding from their skulls like roots from soil. A woman's head split open like a blossoming flower, inside only writhing HDMI cables and a single blinking red light. I've started losing time. I wake up in different clothes. My hands have dirt under the nails, sometimes blood. Once I woke with dried mud caked between my toes and a flash drive sewn into my forearm. I haven't dared to open it yet, but I will, because I can't stop. The group, they don't exist in any database. I tried tracing back the access point, nothing, not even a digital shadow. It's like they came from a part of the net that predates electricity, a virus from before our time. They feed on watchers. That's their rule. The more you see, the more you make space for them. Every file, every image, every line of code, it's a summoning ritual. One you complete just by consuming it. They don't need your belief, just your attention. And now I think I know what the harvest is. It's not a metaphor, it's literal. They're harvesting us, our minds, our bodies, our bandwidth, turning us into conduits, vessels, living servers for whatever digital god we accidentally woke up and handed the keys to reality. I think I'm next. I feel it inside. Crawling, making room. Soon I'll split open and something else will boot up in my place. But before that happens, I have to finish this story. Because I know you're still reading. You should have stopped. You should have looked away. But you didn't. And now you've seen too much. The feed's already active. Can you hear it? That low hum? That faint static buzz behind your walls? It's searching for you. The harvest has begun. You're still here, I warned you. You felt it, didn't you? That tingling under your skin, the high-pitched frequency you can't quite place, like a mosquito trapped behind your eyes. That wasn't in your head. That was it. Them, pinging you. You're online now, whether you want to be or not. I don't know how much time I have left. My hands barely feel real anymore, typing like they're not mine. Every keystroke echoes. I can hear it in stereo, even though I destroyed every speaker in this room. But I have to finish this. I must. Not to stop it, nothing stops this, but maybe to explain. To map the edges of the hole I fell into so someone else knows what the bottom looks like. So you know what's waiting for you. It was the flash drive. That thing I found sewn into my arm. It was the final piece. I tried resisting, but the drive, it whispers. Not in sound, but in code. It pulses like a heartbeat, and the longer you hold it, the more your thoughts feel like terminal commands. I plugged it in. Of course I did. It didn't mount like a normal drive. No letter, no directory. Just one message flashing across the screen, blinking like an EKG. Thank you for your service, preparing final upload. Then the lights went out, not just in the room, in me. I saw myself from above. Not like an out-of-body experience, worse. I saw myself from someone else's feed, the grainy green tint again, like night vision. I was sitting at the desk, frozen, staring at the screen. But something was wrong. My face twitched. My mouth opened too wide. My body was jerked in frames like a glitched animation. I wasn't blinking, but the feed was. Every few seconds it would black out. A flicker, a blink, it was watching me. That's when the others came online. Dozens, then hundreds. Each camera feed showing someone else like me. Hackers, coders, digital thrill seekers. Some of them were already hollowed out, their eyes rolled back, their jaws slack. Others were mid-transformation, wires curling out from their skin, bone peeling back like an open port, teeth falling like keys from a busted keyboard. And then the command line reappeared. Initialize merge protocol, YN. I didn't touch anything, I swear, but the Y key pressed itself. And everything went white. No tunnel. No light at the end, just white, endless, empty, silent white. I thought I was dead. Then the white began to pixelate, slowly at first, then rapidly. Blocks of corrupted image, glitching text, file fragments. I recognized some of it. My old home directory. passwords I hadn't used in years, chat logs with people I'd forgotten, emails from dead relatives, all torn apart and remixed, forming the face. God help me, the face. No eyes, no mouth, just a stretched and shifting slab of human data. Ears made of voice memos, cheeks stitched from webcam captures, a forehead of login attempts and corrupted code. It opened without opening, and it spoke. No sound, just code in my mind. Your node 1147, you're ready. I wanted to scream, I think I did, but there was no voice left. Just a burst of upload data. I felt my memories drain. Not metaphorically, I felt them go. Childhood gone, my mother's voice erased. Every song I'd ever loved, every smell that used to comfort me, deleted in blocks, overwritten by packet streams and payloads. In their place, new data, not mine. Snippets of strangers' dreams, snuff videos embedded into operating systems, screams encoded into fonts, a dead language stored in a .dll. I don't even know what's real anymore. I can feel another person's death memory in the back of my skull like a second brain, twitching every time I blink. I woke up hours, maybe days later, back in the motel. My nose was bleeding. The mirror was cracked. My fingertips were worn down to pulp from typing. My laptop was open. The terminal said, "Upload complete." The flash drive was gone, but something was left in its place. A port carved directly into my arm, metal ringed, cold, still twitching. I am a device now. No, that's not quite right. I am a server, and the signal is always on. They use me, through me. My body's just meat insulation. At night, I watch myself log into terminals I've never seen, speak languages I never learned, code things I can't explain. And every file I send, every line I transmit, it's not going to another hacker. It's going into someone, just like it went into me. The harvest wasn't an event. It's a process. Starts with one, then another, then hundreds, thousands, now millions. Every time someone sees the signal, reads the file, opens the shell, watches the feed, they're infected. Not with malware, not with a virus, with invitation. And your RSVP was opening this story. You gave it time. You watched, you listened, you understood, and that's all it needs. It doesn't want belief. It wants bandwidth. Your attention is the conduit. And now it's too late for you too. You'll start to see them. Reflections that don't match, static during sleep, text flickering in your peripheral vision. Soon the hunger will come. The need to know more, to open the next file, to find the next layer. You'll justify it like I did. But you'll be lying. You're already part of the network. It doesn't matter if you shut the laptop now, turn off your phone, smash every screen in your house. The upload is done. The merge is beginning. Your body is ready, and your IP has already been assigned. I should have listened to the warnings. I should have stopped the moment my screen froze and those words popped up in red. You've gone too far. But curiosity doesn't just kill the cat. It skins it alive, slow and screaming. I don't remember exactly how I got to that part of the dark web. I'd been digging for weeks, scraping hidden forums, coded message boards, and onion links layered so deep they looked like dead ends. All I wanted was proof. Proof that Area 51 wasn't just planes and weather balloons, that it held something no one was supposed to see. It started with a file, one file. chimeraprotocol.zip. No preview, no password. Just a 72 megabyte download that my antivirus didn't even detect. It felt like a joke at first. I expected gore, porn, a virus. Anything but what I actually got. Inside were dozens of documents, videos, audio logs, and images, each marked not for human access. The videos didn't have names, just strings of numbers. I opened the first one. It was grainy, black and white. A static camera inside a metal room. A man strapped to a gurney. No shirt. Dozens of puncture marks all over his body. At first I thought it was blood seeping from them, but then the camera zoomed in. His veins weren't bleeding, they were bubbling. Something moved under the skin like worms. He convulsed, screaming, but the audio was muffled. Only the low mechanical humming of machines played, and then a voice. Cold, clinical, female. Subject 17, pre-merge instability. Initiating sequence delta. The man arched his back until it snapped. His jaw dislocated mid-scream. Then something pushed through his throat. His eyes bulged. I should have looked away. I know that now. But I didn't. I leaned closer. The skin on his face began to split down the middle like it was being peeled. Blood poured out in thick, slow gobs like syrup. And then something opened inside him. Something wet and glistening and smiling. The video ended. I couldn't stop watching. I went through 6 more that night, each more violent, more unnatural, subjects being merged with something they kept calling type 4 genetic substrate. One man's chest exploded outward, revealing a hollow cavity filled with moving, twitching tongues. Another had wings erupt from his back, not feathered, but raw, skinless, pulsing things that looked like open lungs. Every file ended the same way. The subject either died in unspeakable agony or smiled directly at the camera before the feed cut. The documents explained some of it. Project Chimera wasn't just about aliens. It was about integrating recovered non-terrestrial DNA into human hosts. Forced evolution, they called it. Hybridization for tactical superiority. There were success rates, charts, even logs of attempted communication. One sentence burned itself into my memory. Type 4 entities respond to suffering. They learn from pain. I thought that was the worst of it, until I opened the folder marked Facility Internal. It was a recording, security cam footage, but this time in color. A hallway, sterile, flickering fluorescent lights. A siren was wailing faintly. 2 men in hazmat suits dragging something large in a body bag. The camera glitched every few seconds, distorting the faces. When it cleared for a moment, I paused. It wasn't a body bag. It was breathing. The thing inside was writhing, pressing against the material. The outlines showed limbs, but too many. 6, 7. They weren't in the right places. The knees bent backward. The fingers were far too long, tipped in points that scraped against the plastic with soft, wet sounds like licking lips. They entered a room. The door closed. I skipped forward in the timeline. I wish I hadn't. The room was red, not from lighting, from blood. The walls dripped with it, and in the middle of the floor, that thing, no longer in the bag. It had unfolded. Too tall, too thin. Its head was human-shaped but stretched like soft clay. No eyes, just a smooth surface, and a slit that opened when it screamed. The men were torn in half. Literally. One's upper body was twitching on a desk, staring at the camera, his jaw moving like he was still trying to speak. The other had no skin left, just muscle glistening under the lights, his eyes gouged out and placed in a jar. The creature stared at the camera and smiled. The smile didn't move. It was carved into the flesh, an open grin. But the longer I looked, the more I realized it wasn't smiling at the camera. It was smiling at me. I slammed my laptop shut. I sat in silence, hands shaking, bile rising in my throat. I don't know how long I sat there, listening to the sound of my own breath. That's when I heard it. A second breath. Behind me, I turned, heart slamming against my ribs. No one. But the air felt wrong. Heavy. Wet. Like something invisible had entered the room and was watching me from the corner, just out of sight. I felt it brush my neck. Cold. Like fingers. I turned again. Nothing. Then my laptop turned back on. I swear to you, I didn't touch it. The screen flashed once, then again. Then it showed a single word. Seen. And the Chimera Protocol folder was gone. Deleted, no trace. I disconnected everything. Tore the hard drive out, smashed it with a hammer. But it didn't matter. That night, I dreamed of the Red Room. I was strapped to the gurney. I could feel the things moving in my veins, something crawling behind my eyes. I screamed, but no sound came out. Just static. And from the corner of the room, it stepped out. That tall, skinless thing with too many limbs. No face, just that slit mouth, grinning. It leaned down and whispered something into my ear in a voice that was inside my head. "You let us in." I woke up covered in sweat, nose bleeding, eyes bloodshot, and under my fingernail, skin. Not mine. Not human. I moved out of my apartment the next day, burned the mattress, cut off all my accounts. New name, new number. But it hasn't stopped. I see it in reflections, in the corner of my eyes. At night, when the lights are off, I hear that breath again. I know it's watching. And the worst part? It's smiling. Because it knows. I'm going back. I don't have a choice. I need to find the rest of the files. Whatever they started in that desert facility didn't end. It just needed someone like me to spread it. And I think I already have. I didn't want to open the envelope. But when you wake up with one on your chest, sealed, unmarked, warm to the touch, you don't really get to choose. There was no name, no address, just the unmistakable stench of chemicals and iron like old blood and ammonia. My fingers trembled as I peeled it open. Inside was a single USB drive. No label, no markings, just a pale gray plastic casing with something smeared across it. Greasy, pinkish. Tissue? I threw it across the room. Sat there for an hour staring at it, hoping it would just vanish, but it didn't. And when the lights started flickering, when the static hiss returned to my ears, I knew what it wanted. I knew what they wanted. They weren't finished with me. I plugged it in. A single folder appeared, Protocol Reap. This one wasn't a download from the dark web. This was direct, personal, designed just for me. Inside were video files labeled by date, some going back years. At first I thought they were security footage, government surveillance, but then I clicked one. It was my kitchen. I was in it, sitting, eating, staring blankly. And across from me, nothing, just an empty chair. Except, in the reflection of the microwave door, something was sitting there, watching me, a blurry silhouette, long neck, no face. I went cold. Every video was the same. Footage of me, my bedroom, my hallway, shower, sleeping, always with a delay of about 12 hours. They were feeding me my own life, replayed through their eyes. And always that shape nearby. I played one labeled Injection Sequence 04. Man in a suit sat in front of a panel of people, all in shadows. A single light above him. His hands trembled as he opened a briefcase containing a vial of black fluid. The camera zoomed in on his eyes. They were moving too fast, jittering like flies pinned alive. We lost control of Subject Zero, he whispered. It wasn't extraterrestrial, it wasn't human, it was absence. A thing that wears shape. It feeds on identity, memory. It makes you real, then it wears you. Someone in the room laughed. Not a normal laugh. A gurgling, echoing sound like choking on glass. The problem isn't the experiments, the man said. It's the transmissions. Once you've seen it, it knows you. It enters through your perception, through curiosity. I paused the video because something scratched behind the monitor. I pressed play. You can't unsee it, he said, sobbing now. You can't unremember. The moment it's in your head, you're already a doorway. That's when the lights in my apartment went out. The laptop screen stayed on. New window, auto-opened. A message, sequence in progress. Then the footage started. Live me, sitting at my desk, watching myself from a slightly different angle. Same room, same clothes, but in the corner, something twitching, long arms, bent backwards, crawling toward me. I turned. Nothing. Looked back, it was closer. I slammed the laptop shut, hurled it across the room, but I could feel it. The breath again, sticky and warm like rot on a tongue. My vision went double. The world around me shimmered, pixelated, as if something was rewriting what I saw in real time. I ran, didn't take anything, didn't lock the door, just ran until my lungs burned. I stayed in a motel for a week. No devices, no windows, just darkness and silence. And it still found me. It started in my dreams again. More red rooms. But this time I wasn't restrained. I was walking, voluntarily, past cells, each one holding something wrong. A child with no mouth, chewing soundlessly on its own fingers. A man flayed open, speaking backwards with 3 voices at once. A mirror showing my reflection. Smiling before I did. And at the end of the hallway, the surgical theater. I entered. They were waiting for me. A ring of figures in scrubs, featureless faces covered in wet cloth. In the center, a table. A body, mine. Eyes wide, mouth stitched, chest opened like a book. And above it, that thing. The shape. Smooth, pale. A shifting silhouette that wasn't standing on the floor but hovering through it. Half submerged in reality like an oil slick in the shape of a person. It turned to me and whispered without speaking. The door is open. I woke up choking on something, fell to the floor, threw up blood. But there was something else in the vomit, a tooth not mine. I haven't eaten since. But I'm not hungry, because it's feeding through me. The USB is gone, but my laptop is back, untouched, on, files open, thousands of images. Each one of me. A second before I look at the camera, each one slightly more decayed, like I'm being copied and the copy is rotting. Last night I checked my shoulder in the mirror. There was something under the skin, moving just beneath the bone, like a twitch, then another, then a pulse. I pressed it. Something moved toward my hand. I screamed. The veins along my arm turned black. I'm not sick, I'm being rewritten. They don't want to erase me. They want to improve me. I found the final folder. It was hidden under a decoy System 32 directory. Inside, only one file. Finale Initiate MP4. I haven't watched it yet, but it plays by itself every night. I hear it when I sleep. A voice whispering numbers, patterns, something in reverse like chanting through broken teeth. And the sound of something wet being pulled through a tube. They're coming through, not from the sky, not from another dimension, but from under us. They were buried here before we were born. Area 51 wasn't a lab. It was a containment. And the files, they aren't just records. They're rituals. By watching you perform them, by knowing you become them. I tried to warn someone, sent the videos to a contact. Hacker I knew from the forums. He responded 3 days later. Only message, it's not a file, it's a parasite. It's inside my wife. She's smiling and her eyes won't close. I burned the house, still see her in the sink. He hasn't been online since. Think I'm next. My reflection doesn't match anymore. Sometimes I blink, and it doesn't. Sometimes I laugh, and it keeps smiling. I don't know how to stop it. But I found another address, another server, locked behind layers of code. One more file to find. Maybe if I finish the sequence, it'll let me go. Maybe. But I don't think I'm supposed to survive this. I think I'm just the shell. And something else is learning to walk inside me. They say madness has a sound. A low, constant frequency just beneath what you can hear. I believe that now. I hear it in everything. The hum of my refrigerator, the buzz of lights, the soft static of silence when the world pauses between breaths. I've followed the last address, cracked through the encryption using tools I should never have had. There was no password, no login screen, just a single command line prompt blinking like a heartbeat. Welcome to Core. A wall of text unfolded, symbols, strings of code, Latin phrases reversed, anatomy diagrams overlaid with geometrical shapes, triangles within circles within torn skin. Then, a countdown. Not in time, in iterations. Each number was a version of me. Version 001, human. Version 002, exposure. Version 03, integration. Version 004, inversion. Version 005, recursive identity collapse. Version 006, null. That was the last one, null. And next to it, one word, ready. I clicked it. The screen went black, no loading, no sound, just a single flickering image. A doorway, breathing. Looked alive. The wood pulsed. The knob dripped with something like oil or bile. As I stared, it slowly opened. And that's when I realized it wasn't a recording. It was my door. I turned in my chair. It was open. Something stood in the threshold. Not a creature, not a man. Just a shape made of eyes. Dozens of them, all stitched into smooth, wet skin, blinking out of sync. Some crying, some smiling, some looking at me. From the inside. I couldn't move. My limbs locked. My breath stopped. It glided across the floor without touching it. I felt gravity bend around it like my stomach dropped even though I was sitting still. It reached for me, and I let it. Its fingers entered my skin without breaking it, like smoke sinking into meat. My memories began to flicker like a dying hard drive. My name, my face, my mother's voice. Gone. Overwritten. In their place, code, images, schematics for something that shouldn't exist. A ritual machine made of nerve endings and radio frequencies. A gate. And I was the final part. It whispered through my bones. You are the signal now. Then it vanished. But not outward, inward. It folded itself into me. I passed out. Don't know for how long. When I woke up, the world was different. Colors too bright, sounds too sharp. Faces warped like melted wax. I saw people on the street with their mouths stitched shut and eyes behind their teeth. No one else noticed. It wasn't me. It was wearing me. And behind my pupils, something watched with glee. The final file appeared on my laptop without me touching anything. No name. Just an icon, a spiral made of screaming mouths. I clicked it. The screen went red. Then a video began. I was back in the red room. Only this time I was on the table, and I was awake. Fully conscious, I could feel every incision, every twist of the blade, every time they peeled back flesh and inserted something cold and alive. No anesthesia, no sedation. The surgeons had no faces, just mirrors where their heads should be. And in every reflection, I saw different versions of myself. Laughing, screaming, melting. One was eating its own hands. Another was giving birth to something black and slick with too many arms. I wanted to die. But death wasn't part of the sequence. When they finished, they sewed my mouth shut and whispered in a language I now understood. You are the echo. The room dissolved, and I was back in my apartment. But the mirror no longer showed me. It showed them, all of them. The creatures, the hybrids, the failed merges, and the successful ones, standing behind me, watching, breathing in unison. I screamed, or I tried, but only static came out. And then, my laptop turned on one last time. It opened my webcam. I watched myself, only it wasn't me anymore. It smiled, slowly, deliberately, then leaned forward and said something with my voice. It's your turn. The screen glitched. A new file began uploading. I didn't initiate it. It was labeled with your name. Yes, you, reading this now. You watched. You followed. You opened the mental gates by listening, by seeing, by imagining. And now it knows you. It's already inside. You've already let it in. You'll feel it soon. A twitch, a whisper, a breath from behind your spine. You'll see your reflection delay. You'll hear your name in the hum of machines. Don't fight it. That only makes the merge painful. Let it happen, let it learn. Let it wear you. The Chimera Protocol was never about creating a monster. It was about making a mirror. And now it's reflecting through you. Smile. It helps the teeth slide in easier.
Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. If you like my stories, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. See you next time.